All right, off and on the clock, back in our humble abodes after our trip to Dallas last week. Hopefully you guys were able to catch that live show, had a blast there. We'll do a little recap of the Dawg Bowl here, and then we're going to jump into this week 15 slate. Only a few more, massive slates on the year, so we're going to make the most of it. We will talk through our favorite scroll down plays. We will get into some 6-person strategy and, of course, some spicy pick'em builds here to wrap things up. I'm Pete with the Badge Bros. This is Off and on the Clock. Let's do it. All right, fellas, we are back in our homes. It seems like you guys all made it home intact. John, you had the longest flight of all of us. How are we doing post Dawg Bowl?
I'm doing well. Normally, I'd say it feels good to be home. It's good to be back. But I'd be lying in this accord, Pete. I can't believe it's been a week since we ran that show in Dallas. Like that time just flew by. And man, I had a great time. I would happily run it back this weekend.
I'm down to run it back, but John, I need a little bit more time than just a week turnaround.
True.
Nez, how did Dawg Bowl weekend go for you?
It was good, man. It was a ton of fun. Always enjoy getting to see everybody and hang with you guys. But I'm glad to have a few days off without copious libations in my system. So I'm feeling like a new man after that weekend.
Dude, I wrote myself, so the way I do remind myself for to-do lists, I'll just shoot myself an email so I have it in my inbox. And I literally shot myself an email when I was coming back that said no drinking until Christmas Eve. And that's right now, that's not even hard. I have zero desire to drink. Maybe in a few days, I'll want to crack. But I drank enough for about a month, I think.
Yeah, for 3 Pete's.
Hopefully you guys saw some of the the content throughout the week. I put up a little 60-second sizzle vlog there. We got the shows. It seemed like people felt like they were able to follow along a decent bit there with the action on Sunday.
I mean, year over year experience, we 100x'd the previous year, did we not? Just in terms of all the thought process that went into it prior to, this experience this year was, last year was great. This year was tenfold, I think, just because it was all well thought through. It was all well planned. We rolled in and there was a big set already put up for us and that sort of thing. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah. There's nothing more that I love doing live shows. Those are few and far between, for us when we do so much stuff on the internet. But then there's also the tech hurdle aspects of it. And I've mentioned this before, we do our ship chasing thing in Vegas. And I'm always like, man, it'd be super fun to do a live show. We got the community out there. And then all of the tech stuff would fall on me to organize or pay a ton of money. And it's stressful to think about that and to have the Underdog team that are just such professionals spinning up everything. I know we had a little issue with our mic on Friday night, whatever, but to have people take care of all of that and you just get to sit down and have a drink, some spicy margs and do a show, there's nothing better.
Yeah, that was awesome. I know he said thank you and everything to them for that, but that's truly such an elite experience to be able to have all of that taken care of. That was tremendous. So can't wait to run it back. Hopefully soon. At some point it'll be there, but I'm pumped.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat today. Also some familiar faces from the Dawg Bowl here. We had Keith. It was great meeting him and so much of the crew. I know you guys did a little bit of a recap earlier this week, as did I, but maybe let's go around the horn. What are our favorite memory or moment from a Dawg Bowl weekend, and then we'll get into the slate.
Well, I think the big standout obviously would have been just the big celebration as when Best Ball Viper won. That's an iconic moment. I would say it was an iconic moment when we went to the ball game all together on Monday night there, just because it was truly first class. But I think my favorite memories will just be when the cameras were off, when the drafts were done, and we're all just sitting around, standing around in the living room, in the kitchen, in the house, and just all look at each other and just go 5 more for a goal line stand, because we all just like bring it full circle to exactly what brings us all together in the first place, is like what we know and love is drafting on this platform, is talking about drafts on this platform. And even though we're all hanging out in person, the same chats that would take place in the Discord were just taking place in real life. So I think that's what it was for me, is the stuff that kind of goes on after the fact and behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, great call out. For me, I have to go with Mathology doing the Hawk Tua. I mean, that was seriously the hardest I've liked. Probably mostly because I was trying to compose myself and not like completely ruin the bit. But holy shit, man, that was one of the funniest things I ever watched unfold. And for it to actually be a good team too, on top of it, just the icing on the cake.
There was the best thing about it too was like the build up to it, like the rumors were going around, he was going to do it. And then you're starting to look at the draft boards in the first few drafts and you're like, that actually lines up in like an uncrazy way, whereas like, that's just like right at ADP. And then if you get Tua to come back around, and we saw some people reaching for Tua in the third to lock up their stack. And so it takes like a little bit of a leap of faith. So not only do you get the meme equity, but you actually push a value to you with Tua coming all the way back around. And I'm just like, to watch that come together, I have both Nez and I have some video, a little bit of it made it into the clip I posted on Twitter yesterday. Just absolute incredible sequence of events. And then it's like, it's already paid for itself at that point. And then it's a team that finishes 6th place overall. Like, I mean, what more could you ask for?
It was awesome because he's at the front of the room too. So everybody's looking at him and he's pacing back and forth, standing up. He was standing up while he was drafting. And then he looks over at me and he goes with his first round pick. He goes, every Hawk Tua starts with a BJ, Bijan, and winks at me and takes Bijan in the first round. So it went one layer deeper.
It's incredible stuff. I will say, kind of like dovetailing with John, and this is like a stupid moment to be one of my favorites, but it was on Friday when we were waiting for everybody to show up on Saturday for the drafts. And then we were just jamming in some NBA drafts and just sitting around and getting to pepper you and Nez with your ball takes while just getting in some action for that Saturday night slate, because it did feel like how I am on the internet. It's like I pepper Zakarian and you guys for takes like over Discord or whatever, and then just doing it IRL. It's like, that's my scroll down or whatever, and ripping in some drafts before everyone came over was super fun.
People will forget that I had 93% Russell Westbrook that evening. People will forget because it was all paired with Brandon Ingram. But hey.
It was a wild slate too, if I recall correctly, and I don't recall much.
It was a lot of stimulation that weekend, which makes a lot of it a blur, but it was all fun.
Yeah, and then we went. So the other part, we went to the game on Monday. We had a big shuttle to take us over there, and we are just absolutely ripping pick'ems on the bus ride over. I mean, I think at one point Numi made me count it, and I had like 36 or something.
Yeah.
But I am tilting so hard because we were tailing everything. People were tagging us in the Discord. I'll tail. I didn't tail Jack Settleman on his CeeDee Lamb first score. His brother, Casey, said this is free money. CeeDee Lamb, first TD score.
He did call it the L word. He called it the L word on the bus.
It was financial advice. And then Settleman pairs it with Geno Stone interception. Literally never heard of Geno Stone in my life. But so, we're sitting there watching the game, trying to hit one of these pick'ems. Meanwhile, Jack's over there celebrating. It was like a 20 or 25K hit. The one goddamn pick'em I didn't tail for the entire evening was the Omega bomb from the Settleman brothers. So I'm still not over that.
There's a lesson in that. I don't know what it is, but there is one. There is one in there somewhere. But no, I joke with John that we covered the suite for everybody that evening. I mean,
yeah, it wasn't Underdog just put us up in the suite, then we paid for it on the back end.
When you guys were building those pick'ems, I was ripping a couple primetime paloozas to there. I had a good sweat going into last night. I actually forgot to look back and check it because I didn't watch any ball last night. But I know Debo shat the bed, so it probably didn't get home. But I had the nuts going into the night plus Debo, and Debo just had to outscore Brandon Cooks, and he didn't. So I imagine it finished like
he didn't outscore Brandon Cooks.
No,
Brandon
because
Cooks didn't even have 2 catches. I know because I had 1.5 higher receptions.
but the one catch was a big one for 6 points in the end zone.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Dude, that Debo drop, that was a walk-in touchdown on that slant last night that he dropped.
Oh, see, I didn't even see it. I haven't seen anything from last night.
Too many
Nez, you want to
roses.
speak on Debo?
No, because honestly, like I kind of like got lucky because I had no Debo. I have no Debo in my BBMs right now. None.
Wow.
And I drafted 38 shares of Debo and BBM. So it's like, you know, it actually kind of worked out. So there's not very many Debo teams in BBM right now, but if they are there, it's probably curtains for them.
You know, there's the levels to cope. You know, there's the oh shit, he's not doing well. Oh shit, he could be the low advance rate guy. I just need to sneak in. And then there's Devo. You're just like, I don't want to see that guy on fucking any of my rosters at all.
Yeah, and I don't have to.
Don't worry, Nez. I'm right there with you, going down with that ship. I had him as my gem last week, Dawg Bowl week. Did not work.
I want to ask you guys, no, just piggybacking on that, I wanted to ask you guys, did you guys do like a full look through of kind of your remaining best ball stuff here and like anything that you're liking, your exposures you're liking or anything like that?
I just went through on bbmdb.com looking at my overall exposures. And then I tabbed through just to see, like, because I named most of mine were still stream drafts. So, you know, and I flagged one for you guys. We had like a Dalmatian that we drafted on stream. I have like 3 teams with Sean, a couple ship chasing teams. So I was just kind of like more looking at like who I had these sweats with. And then I looked at bbmdb.com for, you know, my highest exposure. Like I have Bowers on 10 of my BBM teams. So I was looking at like a few things like that. But I'm not the like get a stare at every single roster and then add it up for every one of my pods. Like I'll do that when we get to week 16, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, I feel you. No, I know I have like my best teams. I know for sure are mostly puppies, and I have a bulldog team that's really nice. That since John, I went on Davis's stream today, I gave him 5% of my bulldog since we did ours with him, and it didn't advance, and I was feeling really bad for him because I kept asking him basketball questions. He's like, Nez, can you just like, dude, I'm not looking. Like he was down.
You got shamed into giving him 5% of one of your best teams. My God,
it was just exuding. Like I just like felt so bad that I was like, let me just like, since like you let us split a bulldog with you, you can have 5% of mine. It's a sick team, but most of my best teams are puppies. I have 3 Cooper Cup teams in BBM. They suck, thankfully, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah,
I just checked you. I did a little Debo check. You have 2 Debos and 1 cup, so you made out okay last night.
That's also the name of my next YouTube video: 2 Debos, 1 cup.
I'm just looking right now at the BBM stuff. It looks like I got 1 that's me and you, Pete, and then I got 1, 2, 3 Badge Bros ones, Nez. So we still got some sweat equity here.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. A pretty brutal. You know, we'll get to the slate here, but as far as basketball stuff, brutal first night. I mean, Puka, I think you can survive the 14 points. Like, you know, Kyron, I guess, gives you a little bit of a floor, but you start to think about the opportunity cost and what other people's 2nd and 3rd round picks can do this week, and it's like, man, you are in some rough spots if you were invested in that game last night.
That kind of sucks now that you say that because I'm looking at my exposures. I got 75 teams left in playoffs, and Kyron is my highest exposed running back. So that's doesn't bode well.
You got 5 in BBM.
Yeah. I got 5 Kyrons in BBM.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If for some reason you're watching this show and you guys aren't familiar with bbmdb.com, the people's dev, Patrick Donovan, I'm actually, I'm writing about him in the PO box for tomorrow, giving a little appreciation to him, but a combination of just like super valuable sweat experiences. And then he added the sim for being able to sim out the BBM finals. And he completely admits very inexact science, but it speaks to just how much we want to engage with this stuff and being able to roll it like a slot machine and see your friends' names at the top. Like everyone's been screenshotting everybody, Davis, Liam, you guys. It's just like he's done so much for this sweat experience. So as usual, round of applause for our guy PD.
I just sent him a few cups of coffee this morning, in fact.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah,
good man.
Had to do it.
All All right, fellas, let's get down to brass tacks because people got some stimmies in their account. And I'm telling you, if you're just best ball bros and you're for some reason watching this, it's time to join us in the BR streets this week. We got 30,000 up top in the main BR. We have 20,000 in the goal line stand. Shout out to Charlie. Oops, lost you, John. Shout out to Charlie, their line of scrimmage, who took that down last week with a sick Darnold double stack. What else do we need to sell these best ball bros who got the money in the account to come in the daily streets with us?
Oh, that we're going to spice it up in the pick'ems. If you don't even want to sit down for 10 minutes of drafting, you can just wait another hour, and then we are going to spice it up and give you the answer keys here. Spice it up, slop it up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about this slate. Obviously, no buys, 12 games. We now have Josh Allen at an ADP of 2.7. He did open up the week as the 101. The Derrick Henry crew came in and said, all right, just chill a little bit. Derrick Henry's going 101. But let's go high level here. What are you guys seeing with this week 15 slate?
I mean, I think the Ravens-Giants game is really like where you have to start. The spread, I heard Reeves can say this, and obviously, I mean, it's just like you can literally see it. The spread is larger than the Giants team total in this game. It's insane. And I mean, Derrick Henry is just like the king of front running, like when the Ravens are up, it's a Derrick Henry game. He should be like very close to just 1-1. Jamar Chase just went nuts, so he's going to get close. But like Derrick Henry for me, it's going to be hard to a little bit tough to compete with those teams, man. That game just to me stands out as such a smash. But there's some other really fun games on here with high totals and tight spreads that I'm excited to get to as well, though.
What are you seeing with this slate, John?
I just kind of found it funny, those first 4 picks, that 3 are the highest advancing players in BBM, and then it coincides with smash weeks for them on paper as well. I found
the
that
Stimmy Bros are picking the ones that got into the dance.
I guess, yeah. I just found that just anecdotally interesting. Obviously, I'm probably gonna have a full fade Josh Allen this week, which
fade,
which feels
like
gross.
If you maxed BR with 150, you'd have a full fade.
I think I'd have him at
You're a stronger man than me, brother.
5, and I would just full fade it.
He's like even money to score a rushing touchdown in the pick'em lobby.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I think it's a great game. It could be an amazing game environment. It could be exactly what we got last week with Rams Bills. It could be the exact same thing all over again, and we're looking at another all-time performance there. But just the way ADP shakes out, and where I like my scrolls this week, I'd be playing him at my 105, 106, something like that, and I'm not going to end up with very much if that is the case.
One thing I'll say, and I was thinking about this with how I build, my teams. Like, take for instance, last week you're going into a draft and you're like, oh, I'd like a Sam Darnold and Jordan Addison, and you're like, I know both those guys going to be mostly undrafted, low ADPs, and I'm just kind of picking off the top plays at the top of the board. One thing that is nice is like taking an elite quarterback does naturally help you diversify your scrolls late, right? Because a lot of times my scroll is a quarterback. So if you use that up early, then it's like, okay, now I'm getting pushed to a running back wide receiver scroll. Because often, like when you are doing the stack scrolls, it's just like I just chew up my running back spots right away, True. And then it's like, holy shit, I'm way underexposed to that guy with a 35 ADP who can go off. So that's just like my cope spin zone for like when I bite the bullet on these quarterbacks I think are overpriced. I'm like, but I could get a scroll I don't normally get.
Yeah, that's fair. I respect that too. It's something I got to think through a little bit more in terms of my process, because I do think I've been overlapping myself with combos this year in both sports too frequently, because I fall into these like soft fades or heavy fade patterns and then just repeat the same stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I want to ask you guys, who do you think the Sam Darnold, you just brought it up, the Sam Darnold Addison combo for this week is, and why is it Jameis Elijah Moore?
Oh, buddy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just coming off of doing the block party with JM, and he is very big on Jameis this week. And we, of course, got the news that Tillman isn't going to play. Judy already had a pretty frothy ADP I'll be curious, how much do you think Elijah Moore moves up? And we are just going to transition to scroll the F down, Jebs, if we're going right into this.
Sean couldn't hold it.
Yeah, he couldn't hold it. So his ADP right now doesn't have one, 36. That has to change, right? He has to move up to like the 34s or something, you'd think.
I don't know.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know that people get to him, like he just,
yeah,
it's like perpetually slept on.
True.
And there's just some really good picks this week. Like it's tough for me to scroll right now just based on the guys that I like and how I've been drafting that, getting scrolly at wide receiver for me is has been tough. It's been very tough because these 6-round running backs and the 6-person drafts, I love. I just cannot get enough of the late round running backs this week, and it's where I've been kind of living for the most part.
It is crazy. You have some of the projection darlings, obviously Rico projects extremely well, but once you get past Brian Robinson, and again, you can kind of see in these ownership percentage, James Cook, 22%. And then it just falls off a cliff, and there is a lot to like in this batch. Obviously some Q tag stuff that's going to go a long way, but man, even the Breece Hall thing, I hadn't even been thinking about that because that literally broke an hour ago. We might get Breece Hall in one of the better matchups in football at a sub 10% ownership.
Yeah. And it still scares the shit out of me. I mean, the last time he came back, it was a 3-way split. Isaiah Davis, got the receiving touchdown. I would love to be super in on Breece Hall this week. I think I'd just prefer to attack that game through the air and, look at some other running backs at this back end. I mean, yeah, I know Jonathan Taylor hasn't played well in recent weeks, and it's a tough matchup, but just seeing his name down there, I'm like, whoa, what's up here? The Rachaad White, which you alluded to with the cover there, if the Bucky Irving news breaks the correct way for us, those ones seem like more enjoyable clicks than the Breece Hall one to me, but I get the narrative.
Nez, would you do anything? Tony Pollard, I believe, is about to miss his practice again. I think they said, I saw a tweet that he wasn't out there.
Yeah.
Spears is kind of hard to get to even without Pollard, I think.
Yeah. If there was no Pollard, man, I might do it just for the vibes, just because I love Spears so much. But it's tough because I feel like it's going to be a game time decision for Pollard. He just hasn't missed a game yet, and he's missed a ton of practice all season long. So I'm just waiting and seeing on that one. If Tony Pollard is in, I'll probably take some Tony Pollard because his role has been awesome, and that game should be kind of sneaky fun, I think. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
And I do think, this is kind of an evergreen comment. Embrace some of these Q tags, not because of the specific, and I've learned this even more just from playing NBA with you guys too, of the optionality it gives you of yes, you might get, if Bucky is ruled out at the last minute, Rachaad White is going to project a 4th round pick or something, maybe even better than that. And you can swap these Q tags. Again, you don't want to have 50% Q tags, so you have 50% Rachaad White, but you want to be sprinkling these guys in because you are going to get a huge projection boost and a relatively unowned guy that you're going to be able to backfill your teams in a way. And that's another way to diversify your scrolls in a way that's not even sacrificing projection.
Yep. Well said, Pete. I got a question for you guys about the upper echelon of running back there. Is there any concern with the narrative of the narrative we talked through last week with Saquon, where it's they're well over 2 touchdown favorites here. They get up, he gets underutilized, a la what we were talking about with Saquon last week. Didn't come to fruition because the Panthers are pesky as hell. But any thoughts on just that one at the top there, guys?
Well, let's be clear, John. They're not 2 touchdown favorites against my Steelers. They're less than a touchdown favorite.
No. Using the analogy from last week to apply it to Derrick Henry being 2 touchdown favorites this week.
Got it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Okay. I just think they front run the hell out of Derrick Henry and they just let Derrick Henry go nuts.
Sure. Okay.
That's my feeling.
I will say, like, again, I completely agree. That's the most likely thing to happen. But I'm telling you what, I'm gonna still have a lot of Lamar to Zay. I'm gonna have a lot of Lamar to Andrews. Small field. I would even be interested in like a Henry Lamar in a pass catcher. Just like with that big of a team total, there still is a lot of room, I think, for Lamar to get there via rushing. You get one broken play. And here's the other thing, right? Like, the Giants, this team total is absurdly low. I know they're really bad. Baltimore has been a secondary we have wanted to attack all year. People are licking their chops about Nico Collins versus them in week 17. Like, I'm not saying like this is the neighbors blow up game, but if they can have success on the pass end, if Darius Slayton gets loose for a deep ball and this game stays remotely close, then all of a sudden you start seeing the Ravens being able to score in every which way. So I guess I just never want to be overly precise with how these big team totals are going to score, even though the most likely thing is Derrick Henry, buries us all.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. One thing I wanted to say that we were talking about the Tampa Bay running back situation there. It is a late window game. There's no 4:00 games or 4:05 games or whatever this week. They're all 4:25s. So if he's a true game time decision with Bucky and White there, it's going to be a wait till the afternoon and make sure your swap ranks are set, yada, yada.
At least you have one nice.
For sure.
The one nice thing is we get an extra 4 p.m. game than we normally have, right? That we have 5.
Okay, nice.
This week. So, Bills, Lions, Patriots, Cardinals, like Colts, Broncos. So like you would be able to swap to JT. Like you're going to be able to swap stuff there. Like, so there are some nice options, fortunately, late.
Swapping to JT, who would have said that 14 weeks ago?
It's crazy. Let's see here. Let's quickly kind of just touch on some other scrolls. We mentioned Winston. I feel like we kind of went through the running backs here. I think it's pretty strong week for scroll quarterbacks, just because there's so many good options. Like the ownership is going to be capped here. I did see Kyler just flipped Goff. That wasn't the case yesterday. You get Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, Baker, Herbert, Richardson, Jameis. Like this is a pretty sick string of sub 10% guys.
Yeah, that Herbert one, like I really want to get to it. I mean, QB 13 and just the lack of like weapons is like what's really like throwing me off that. But man, that's the matchup that was just like really sticking out to me. But
nice thing about Herbert is he's running now too.
Yeah. But like I just wish he had more weapons, man, because this is such a good spot for him. But like I do like Ladd, but yeah, I was thinking about it. Now, sorry, I'm just like talking myself off a bit in real time. But.
Well, like the other thing to think about that's just, I think this slate sets up nice. And last week was like the perfect illustration of like those two components coming head to head of like naked Josh Allen, just like burying things. But when you hit on the Darnold, you have to get less things right. You literally could have just had one thing right with that double stack. That's the thing I look at. Obviously, we have some of these high-end guys here at the top. Outside of Joe Burrow, you're getting a decent amount of rushing juice from all of these top guys. But not only do you get an ownership discount on Herbert, but you're almost for sure carrying Ladd or another pass catcher. Same with Baker, same with Stroud, like same with Winston. And so that's just like, it's a double whammy edge when you scroll down here, when you stack, because you're getting an additional thing right that the people playing the naked, they have to hit the extra leg of the parlay. So I really like how this week sets up for scroll down quarterback.
No, I fully agree with you, Pete. I've been doing some of the Jameis stuff. I've done a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Just that offense coming back to life last week there, the 300-yard performance. I mean, I like the Jets wide receiver pieces as one-offs a little bit more, but in some smaller field stuff, don't mind it. Anthony Richardson, one-off. Why not? Getting Josh Downs back. Not a great matchup, but we've seen them get thrown on in the past. A la Jameis did it to them there. I really like the thought of getting to Shrout when all his pieces or his two main components go every single draft in the front end there, and then nobody really takes CJ. So taking CJ and maybe even mixing in like Tank Dell coming out of the bye, just hoping we get a game that we saw from CJ last season and have yet to see from him this season. I think there's worse bets in the world than that. But yeah, that's kind of it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be, hopefully we get Ladd in. It definitely makes the Herbert stuff a lot more attractive. But I will say, like, if Ladd's out, like I will have some Herbert to Palmer and I'll have some Herbert to QJ.
Respect it.
I mean, Tampa, like, this matchup has been one we've been excited to pick on all year. They have gotten a little better of late compared to how they were at the beginning of the season, but with a condensed target tree, that I've done a few goal line stands. Are people clicking Stone Smart in the 12s?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, what is his ADP even?
Because he's going to be Giga Chalk on DraftKings this week, but probably completely undrafted in those.
I haven't noticed it. I mean,
Okay.
he's not somebody that I've been clicking on, but I keep seeing his name, and then I remember, oh yeah, he's the new Will Dissly. Hard not to want to be on that with a name like Stone Smart too. I mean,
such a good name. A double T goes so hard.
How do you not want to click that?
When I did Block Party with Jam a bit ago, I always ask him on a scale of 1 to 10 how much he's excited to talk about the tight end position, and he was not excited to talk about it this week. Obviously, we don't have the salary dynamics over here. You know, McBride's kind of the 101 with the bullet for tight ends, despite this Q tag. Outside of McBride, how do you guys feel about like the Kelsey, Jonnu, Andrews, Laporta range versus the Scrolls?
I'm definitely less on Andrews, more on Laporta. Just the fragility of Andrews in that spot. I know that if you are doing Lamar, you know, it's a good stack, but definitely like not my preference. If I was to take Andrews or Laporta straight up, I would take Laporta. I think this game, you know, kind of speaks for itself. High total, close spread. I'm way more excited about Laporta in here. Obviously, really into the top 3 as well. And then I go right to Hunter Henry. I keep playing these Patriots games and these Patriots spots as though they can go nuts. Oh man, I'm just gonna keep doing it, man. The Arizona Cardinals, despite like them having some like, you know, some good defensive performances, I'm still gonna play it, man. And I'm gonna May to Henry seems like way too thin, but man, I believe like that's more of like a dog or a 12-person draft thing. I will do that. Hunter Henry, though, at the tight end position to me at what I deem to be pretty low ownership. I love this for him.
Yeah. And I think this, I mean, obviously, I don't think Njoku is going to play, even though he got the Q tag. So, like, there's pretty clear tier to me of like McBride, Kelsey, Smith. And then, man, I think like the Andrews, Laporta, Ertz, like this is going to end up being some of the more fragile kind of tight end ownership you're going to see. And then to Nez's point, to be able to get to Henry at, you know, 11%. I have the Draft Caddy ownerships in here. Freiermuth, 5%. Ferguson, 11. Cade, 11. Otten, no one's clicking, you know, likely. So it's like, man, it is a really good week to scroll. And I actually think it's going to be an easier week to scroll because the tight ends at the top aren't as, you know, desirable, because there's some of those weeks when it was like Kelsey, Bowers, McBride, and it's just like I'm fucking rolling one of these 3 on every team. I'm not going to feel that way this week. Like I think I'm going to be pretty spread at tight end.
Interesting. I think I'm going to be the opposite. I think I'm just going to gobble up that Trey McBride Q tag as much as I possibly can and hope to get to 40% in the 3rd round.
What do you mean gobble up the Q tag? Because I feel like he's priced where he'd be even without the Q tag.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He probably is. But in some of those recreational late-in rooms where I can kind of get him to fall a little bit, I'll just keep taking it.
When I auto the Wildcat, I'm trying to build McBride teams.
Yeah, I like it. One other one that you guys didn't hit on that I like this week is Schultz. I'll do some Schultz stuff this week with the CJ stuff.
I'm going to have to fight it's so wild to me. Like I was seeing on Redacted, Stroud's going to be one of the most popular quarterbacks. And I'm like, if there's never anything that's more evident of just math and projection based driving plays, because I'll tell you, no one who's watched CJ Stroud this year wants to fucking play that guy in week 15. Yep. I don't want to play that guy. And I'm going to literally have to force myself to take some of him this week, because it isn't the worst spot in the world. But God, everything with the Texans just makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that, Pete.
Don't tell me Texans double finally gets there.
I kind of hope it does.
Any other notes on scroll down plays? We could hit on wide receivers a little bit. I know, John, you mentioned the Vikings guys, or sorry, the Jets guys. I agree. They look interesting. I think actually what we should do, and maybe we can frame it around this Amari Cooper, Khalil Shakur, Jamison Williams, is talk about that game. It's the classic 2024 DFS thing where we just have Josh Allen draw 50 points. Now we have the game of the week with the biggest total, a legitimate Super Bowl preview. And I don't feel like people are going out of their way to stack this game up. I feel it's just like, how are you guys approaching this? Is this a one-off spot for you? Is it only in game stacks? What do you think?
I think I'll go to what didn't hit last week, and I'm going to try and funnel that through James Cook a little bit. And I think I'm going to do like some Allen Cook stuff that nobody else will do instead of trying to play whack-a-mole with the receivers there. I do think Shakir's the safest of the bunch, and we saw it get home last week. So I think he can go back to the well. The Amari Cooper rule really ticked up. Shout out to Nez for calling that one of before the draft or after the draft, before the contest there, where it was like, yeah, this can push in the right direction. So that's bullish to see the 14 targets there, but they did drop back a shit ton in that one. I think I will be playing this one like the field with primarily naked Josh Allen or trying to get it contrarian with James Cook there. But as I alluded to earlier, I'm not going to play a ton of Josh Allen this week. So
what about you, Nez? Anything on the Detroit side?
No, I think Detroit is a really interesting way to play this. I mean, this is weird to say, but I think Amon-Ra makes a lot of sense in pick'ems. I get his price in battle royales to me is just is high. But in pick'ems, I love his ability to, I think it's less than 70 yards for his receiving yards pick'em, 52.5 total, tight spread. I love him going higher than 70 yards receiving, but at that ADP where I'm building teams, I don't love it. I'm really into Tyreek Hill in against the Texans. He's a lower ADP. So I'm usually taking running backs where Amon-Ra is, but man, a Laporta, JMO, Goff finish to drafts is just the easiest thing in the world, right? I mean, just get your two running backs, get one wide receiver, push the plane, and you're done. To me, that's a really fun way to play this. I love JMO this week. I think JMO, one of the best scrolls you can get to this week. I can't believe I can't believe he's 35-4. I don't know what the caddy says about his ownership, but I am feeling like that is the spot.
It's going to be low. I was just it has it at 6% right now. It's just so funny how we treat this Lions team, right? When they have these massive team totals and these massive spreads, we're like, fuck, they're not going to get pushed. They're just going to run it. And then they finally get the game where they're going to get pushed. It's yeah, we don't want Laporta. We don't want Jameson. We don't want Goff. It's wait, isn't this what we want? We want the Bills to go nuts and they actually have to throw in the dome, in the dome. Jared Goff, 40 attempts.
It was, what was it for Josh Allen last week? A 70% pass rate, something like that. We finally get that big ass throw game, and now you get the perfect environment to run it back, and we're all just now waving it.
You are.
Yeah.
I am.
But so I do think again, this goes back to the opportunity cost of Josh Allen at 2, that playing it through Goff makes a lot of sense. And that element, in the small field, if you have Cook in a Goff stack, opposite that, that starts to make a ton of sense to get cheap access. And then you can play the high end guys as one-offs. You can get your Henry, you can get your Jamar Chase, you can get your Tyreek Hill, get the bulk of the points there. And then it's boom. And I get the game of the week on the back end of my draft.
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
Fuck, I'm kind of flipping my mindset now. Can I rattle you guys a couple names at wide receiver just to get a temperature check here?
Yep.
Okay, I already said the Elijah Moore one, but the Jalen Waddle, he's way down there at 35-6, 14 targets last week rather. Brian Thomas, Jalen McMillan. If the Mike Evans ADP is really palatable right now with the Q tag, but if something doesn't look right there, Xavier Worthy, Tank Dell, Devonta Smith, question marks.
Yeah. Love. My initial take on these is that McMillan's maybe a little too thin. I guess if Shepard's out, I don't mind it. And I think to your point, it's like, man, like right now, Evans is pacing to be like sub 40% ownership right now.
That's
based on his
crazy.
ADP.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So that makes it a little harder. I guess it's popped up here earlier in the week. He started to move. So maybe I'm being way too light, but still, he's not going to be 100%. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I love the Brian Thomas thing. I mean, I don't know how much additional targets we can slide over to him without Ingram, but like the dude's a baller and he's going to probably see 10 targets here.
Yeah, no, I love the Brian Thomas call. Like you mentioned, Ingram out. I love targeting the Jets defense. They're at home for whatever it's worth as well. He's definitely a worthy scroll in 6-person drafts. I'm just laughing. Imagine being like a stranger at that bar we were at last week, and all of a sudden you hear Tyler yelling about the McMillan curse. I mean, he yelled for the entire bar to hear. They're like, what the? Nobody's going to forget the Jalen McMillan curse if you're a stranger there.
Yeah.
I like Tank Dell more in goal line stands. I just don't know that he's like trustworthy enough in 6-person drafts.
Tank Dell is definitely the poor man's Jordan Addison, which if you would have told me that when I was drafting best ball teams this summer, I would have not have loved that take. But it basically, I guess what I'm trying to say with that is like he still has what Addison did last week within his range. It's just his likelihood of doing that is just so much lower in this offense. Like I think if he was in that Vikings offense, I think he would have had a similar game if you just swapped, him and Addison. But
it's a good comp.
These fucking Texans.
Yeah, it's a really good comp.
Nez, is George Pickens playing this week?
I don't think so. No,
okay.
Grade 2 hamstring strain. I'm not a doctor, but I can't imagine you'd come back off of after a week of rest.
That's fucking crazy that it was like all last week. It was like, oh, yeah, he's probably going to play. He's trending towards playing, limited practices. And now all of a sudden it was like game time decision. Nah. And then just not wave practice all week.
Yeah, man. Steelers are seemingly like pretty tight around their like injury stuff. They're not quite transparent about that stuff.
Maybe another Mike Dubb. Well, Mike Dubb week.
Oh, jeez. That's even a little deep for me, Pete.
That'd be Underdog should drop a 24-person contest or like a 10-round or 12-round 12-person contest so that we could just tout the like the grossest plays.
Scroll the F down Van Jefferson.
I was about to say, how about a scroll the F down Badge Bros Brawl contest where you cut out the top 30 in ADP?
That's kind of fun. You just chop it
off.
You literally, it's like,
yeah,
that is funny. You're supposed to scroll down. No, now smoke the entire pack, kid.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
All right. I'm hopping us in the Deposit Kingdom contest. Shout out to Turbotron. Took it down. I always feel like a dick doing this, but Turbotron, I think would have finished like 7th or 8th with that team in the main BR. It was just like a nutted team he drafted. So congrats there. Same as usual, $3 10 max, 2K to first. I'll review the winning lineups on the portfolio review and in the Deposit Kingdom video. That Deposit Kingdom video is going to drop here in about an hour and 15 minutes over on that channel if you guys want some more scroll down gem ideas. But we got the 102 here. Should we do a Josh Allen team, John?
I mean, if you guys' heart desires, but I would advocate for Jamar Chase.
What did you maybe watch him in person, drop 40 or something? That might be influencing you.
Like, was that guy not always open? Like, we had the all 22 angle, and if you just like ISO cammed Jamar Chase, he was the most talented player on the field at all times, and it wasn't remotely close. Like, it's pretty crazy to watch in real time there. Like the way they move him around the formation, the way they would motion, see what the other defense was showing, and then he would just perfectly read and react. I mean, he's truly amazing to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it just looks so easy. I'm good with Chase. Nez, you see anything else you'd do here?
No, let's go Chase, but I do think like Josh Allen is a great small field play because you can stack him just with ease, game stack him with ease, and it just makes a ton of sense in small field, but you can do something similar with Chase, I guess.
The nice thing is you are going to see a decent amount of people that feel similarly. You will see Chase go ahead of Allen a decent bit. You'll see Barkley sometimes. Like you can get Allen at 4 or 5. And so Obviously, small field, you only get so many cracks at that. And if you want Allen exposure, you might just have to pay up. But I do think in the BR, you can be a little patient. Like if you're saying like, I'm open to Josh Allen, but I just refuse to take him over Jamar Chase, like you'll still get some Josh Allen.
Yeah, probably like 14%, 13%. Like you'll get a good amount.
What do you guys think about the T. Higgins stuff? Like, obviously, Burrow came out after that game, said they do everything to re-sign him. He's popping massively in the ETR stuff. Again, T-Bear's in the chat telling us he gets blanked and now goes hometown narrative on it. Is there anything there?
And don't forget, John, he got rid of his agent too.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Do you guys want to lock up McBride here, or is there another prize that you don't want to lose before the turn drafter?
I think when Amon-Ra falls back to the chase drafter, I would just take Amon-Ra, but I know Nez wasn't as bullish on it. I'm good with any of those top.
I would take the Amon-Ra value. That seems pretty good.
Do you guys want to build out something with Goff?
I do. Interested to see what UPP does, but I think that'd be fun.
I was gonna suggest Burrow double and try and push it.
You could do that too.
But if you guys want to do the Goff stuff, let's do the Goff.
Did Burrow go? It's not his ADP was usually around. Okay.
I will say
I thought it was like
Burrow's ADP like feels fake. Like whenever I do draft, like he goes at 15 to like the trace drafter every time.
Yeah.
Do you want to play for like, if we go McBride, it gives us avenues to JMO or Higgins, or we could get Achane.
Man, I would do Achane. I'm sorry, guys. This is a 6 start. And
yeah, that's a
jam. Achane is cooking like crazy. His if you just take away his rushing stats, like he's still just demolishing right now.
I just want to call you both McBride frauds though, because like I'm the one who's like, I'm gonna be spread out, and John's like, I'm gobbling up that Q tag, and Ned's like, I'm gonna auto 150 McBride to the Wildcat. Then you guys are like, pass.
No, I have Achane over him, for God's sake. I mean, everybody's scrolling too early.
Pete missed the thesis on gobbling up the Q tags, but sometimes we got to push it when we're live drafting these lobbies. We're gonna push him to the 4th round.
And he does the shirt. Yeah.
Yo, in the chat here, shout out a couple new members there. FK Coolers and Run Good Rick. 12 months of being a sub. Mad respect. Thank you. Do consider Nez is going to run a no strip Nez stream this afternoon. I don't know if it's good or bad publicity to tell you guys that the Dawg Bowl champion, the 300K in total prizes winner there, rolled up to the Dawg Bowl with a no strip on. So, I mean, Influencer 101 on these Friday nights is running it behind the paywall again tonight. So no strip up for $5.
Get your alpha. Get your alpha.
How is this hoop slate? I might have a few minutes to draft after the show.
It's a little interesting. There's some interesting injuries on it, and it's tough. It's tough to break down because the Jokic slate. Talk to me after.
Okay, thank you. Wow, I like that. I like how that sounds. All right, so we have Achane, we have Chase, we have Amon-Ra. We are on the clock. Definitely don't mind Jonnu with Achane, and then like we did lose Burrow, so I think like we could do like the Goff JMO and grab Jonnu here, or you could go Goff with Laporta. Like, what do you guys think?
I think I like Goff Laporta, but what do you guys like?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, I'm just gonna grab Goff first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get us timed out here.
Yeah. Jonnu's fun, man. He's just a fun player. Looks like a grown ass man out there with the ball in his hands. And it did give us the optionality to do 2 doubles, but we kind of like had it set in our ways to do a Goff double. So I wanted to stay the course.
Yeah. What do you guys think about in general this week? Like the 2 running back versus 3 wide receiver builds. I'm wondering after the Darnold doubles if we see more 3 wide receivers this week.
I mean, in years past, I would have said yes in terms of like recency biased and reaction to that sort of thing. But the way in which people have seen 2 running back teams win at like a 60% clip this year, I think people will just stick to their guns, especially when the scroll options are so beautiful at running back there.
Yeah,
I agree. For me in 6-person drafts, it's hard for me to get to 3 wide receiver. I'm just if Rico is there for me a lot of the time, like I love Rico this week. I think that game. I don't even know if it's technically a good slop it up candidate,
No,
but like
it's 1-0-1 of slop, Ness. We are gonna slop the shit out of that game.
But like with my rose-colored glasses, I'm like, it's too good to be slop. And we're talking Cooper Rush versus the Panthers, and I'm like,
I think we got too sloppy last week with that Jags Titans. I think we got to reel it back and at least have a semi-slop sweat this week.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say I legit right next to it for my number one slop would be Jags Jets. I think that has just fucking slop written all over it. JM was kind of in my ear about like Rodgers at this point, literally nothing to play for. Like, do you think he wants to run check call into runs the whole game, or does he just want to rip it to Devontae Adams like nonstop over and over?
And it's like the nutted pass matchup too.
Yeah.
You got to see a little bit of connection last week. I mean,
kind of like Tank Devontae too.
In 6 persons?
No, come on. I'm not that sick.
You are. That's why I had to ask.
Who do we want? Rico's obviously a great pick. We mentioned the Jets. I mean, Evans is here. You could play Khalil Shakur as a bring back. JT for the deeper scroll. What do you want?
I would say Evans is probably the best click. To deviate, maybe like Rico or Scroll, I guess.
What do you like, Nez?
I would say Rico, but
I think Rico's probably the best pick.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Big fan of Rico this week.
Shout out to our guy Chad, who was down there in Texas with us. Dawg Bowl participant there. 5 gifted Badge Bros memberships to watch Nez this evening. Much love. Appreciate you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, we're actually we're not going to do a goal line stand today, so we can cover some more ground with pick'ems, so you can get all of your 12-person alpha with Nez in the goal line stand streets. You want to give people a little preview of the 12-person slate dynamics this week, though, Nez?
Yeah, I think when you look at some of these games that have what I deem to be pretty high scoring environments, or that can like pop off for that, you get some interesting stacks and bring back combinations here. So I mentioned the Patriots being one of them. Like really like that environment. And kind of like it's similar to our small field talk where we are talking about stacking and being able to onslaught and things like that. To me, that seems to be the key, like every week, just evergreen, is stacking in that way. But yeah, I'm really keyed in on that New England and Arizona game right now.
Cool.
Yep.
You guys know one scroll that we didn't talk about?
Who?
Juwan Johnson. We all liked it last week. He scores a touchdown this week. I know Carr, obviously no Carr, but like, I don't know. Cedric Wilson scored a touchdown on the one drive that, what's the kid's name? Hayner played?
Jake Hayner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably going to, I feel like that's the game. I mean, I guess there's a couple, but like no one's talking about that game. I'm not seeing much love for Jaden Daniels either. Like you look raw projection, people are still jamming like Burrow over him, which I don't think is insane, but more just speaks to how people just don't want to touch this game.
Yeah.
Even like, what are you guys doing? Are you guys playing? Are you clicking Kamara this week?
I'm a little scared. I mean, I talked about that narrative last week with Kendrick coming back a little bit there, and that they might want to save him because he's under contract for the future, and they know this year's a sunk cost. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely mix him in a little bit, but I'll probably scroll past him a decent margin and click the Ricos, click the Whites, click that stuff.
I'll have 0. I'm playing 0 Kamara and hitting lowers in pick'ems.
Ooh, wow. Little forecast.
Also, at least he hadn't practiced. Did he practice today? He hadn't even been practicing.
I think so, because he has pick'ems up. He's back at practice.
Okay, back at practice.
Yeah.
It is interesting, like going back to the kind of the 2 running back versus 3 wide receiver thing. And, it's pretty clear why the 2 running back stuff was smashing early this season. Like we had one of the healthiest running back years, one of the most top heavy with, consolidation of touches for these lead backs. But now we've finally seen the chaos of the season hit in. set in. And what did we see last week? We saw the 2 scroll running back, not like scroll necessarily by ADP, but backup running backs. It was the Garendo and Charbonnet teams. Those teams were not getting drafted in week 1 because those guys didn't exist as viable plays. And then it's like, oh, the elite QB smashes, the elite wide receiver, the double stack smashes. And it is interesting to think about like the ebbs and flows of, like how the data and the projections are going to drive to those optimal constructions. And I do think it is probably more viable late in the season for those 3 wide receiver sets because there are more of those scroll running backs that are like really powerful scrolls.
That's essentially the thesis of zero RB right there.
Yep, but you got to explain it in different ways because it's come July, people will act like zero RB and Isaac Garendo and Zach Charbonnet never existed. Although to their credit, it came a lot later than it normally does. It took a while for the chaos to set in this year.
You know what's so crazy? And I don't know if this is like a we're still early or whatever, but a kind of macro conversation of last week that we didn't talk about was just like the dynamic that you actually didn't need the high scoring quarterback in a 12-person contest to win last week, which was kind of crazy and counterintuitive to me. And then the other one that I would say is everybody funneled to the exact same builds on Redacted, and you needed like the highest scoring week in the history of Redacted to win, and everybody played the same shit. But yet on our site, there was still edge and leverage in doing the Sharps, Garendo, blah, blah, blah. So just 2 interesting dynamics and takeaways from last week that we didn't fully touch on that, I just found.
It's interesting. I literally was just talking to JM, and it was like Kyler's going to be the most popular quarterback on DraftKings this week, and he's going to be sub 30% on Underdog. And like understanding how, it sometimes for people who are new to fantasy that like breaks their brain of why we could say Kyler's a bad play on DraftKings and an awesome play on Underdog. It's like, wait, he's playing in the same game. You're gonna get, but like we're playing in a game against other people.
Yeah, 2015, you would be like, if he's a good play, he's a good play. Like, what are you talking about? Like, cash GPP, is he good or not? Yes or no? Like,
exactly. All right, let's like we said, if you guys want more 12-person draft talk and strategy, tune in for the No Strip stream tonight. Is that 9 Central, 10 Eastern?
Correct. Yes. And looking through some of my teams, got a lot of Isaiah Pacheco too, fellas. So
ooh, yeah, that's one we didn't hit on the scroll there. Get back to that 8.
Someone was saving it for a little Deposit Kingdom video there, but yeah, we're aligned. We're aligned on that one.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, pick'ems. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it. I think there's one you should hit in the chat real quick there, Pete, and then we'll do pick'ems.
All right, DFS King. It was awesome meeting him this weekend as well, gifting the Membies. Speaking of members shows, I'm having Mathology on After Dark Saturday. We talked about him at the top of the show, having himself a year on Underdog, one of the most entertaining people that I've met, and a great community member. So excited to get behind the veneer and figure out who Mathology is on After Dark on Saturday night.
Regular season $1 million winner on for BBM there.
That's right. And what does he have to show for it? Underdog's not giving him any extra money for it, so I was like, all right, I can have him on After Dark, and that's a priceless gift.
They're saying the EV of that is greater than 1.
All right, let me get some of my Call of Duty picks out of the hopper that we're hanging out here.
So sick.
I won't out who sent me those. I wonder how those are doing right now. I think there was a 3 p.m. match. If I'm correct.
3 p.m. Call.
Anyways,
no live scoring.
Yeah, everybody. Just my eyes are up here. Let's relax. Okay. Let's get to the core here, fellas. Do you guys have a pick that you love?
Ooh. Go first, Nez.
Okay. Can we throw a lower in the core?
Yes, of course. Yeah. That's how the no ball.
Yeah. Kamara lower for me is like the starting point.
Rushing
oh my
yards.
God, it's down. It was at like 104. Now it's down
for the combined.
Yeah, now it's down to below. I guess placeholder that, but I mean, I know but like 4 yards is like kind of like a big drop. So
what about rushing yards? Though?
I'm cool with that. Yeah, I like that.
Because his receiving role has still been good, but it's like the rushing stuff where he has no efficiency. That's where I feel like you attack that.
This to me reminds me very similarly of when Kamara was facing the Broncos like a few weeks ago, and had a stupid high projection. The scrimmage yard pick'ems were over 100, and they got their shit stomped. And that's what I'm seeing in this game against Washington. I don't think Kamara is good enough to just get there just because he's Alvin Kamara. I think he needs the game environment to be positive for him. I don't see a positive game environment for Kamara here. So yeah, lower rushing is just as good. Thanks for the help on the pivot.
John, you got one you're IDing here. Do you want me to go?
You go first. I'm kind of checking things out right now.
Yeah, so I want Kyler passing yards. This has gone up a little bit. So 221 here. His last 3 games, 259 versus Seattle, 285 versus Seattle. Seattle's been a top 5 defense since their bye week. Minnesota, their pass rushers at 260. Now he gets this Patriots team that specifically gets shredded in the splash zone, got torched by the Rams there, got torched by the Dolphins there. The only issue here is if they just have a ton of success on the ground and it really slows down. But I'm kind of banking on a couple splash plays. Marvin Harrison this week, McBride with some yak. I think this number is really low for 26-point team total at home, 6-point faves against a really bad defense.
Love that.
And I will mention we don't have to do it for the core, but I like naturally sliding it a bit as well.
Save that for later.
Save it, yeah.
John, do you need me to talk about runner-ups for me?
Yes and no. I'm gonna throw some out. I'm not sure if they're core worthy though. I kind of like Mac Jones completions.
What else you got?
Yeah,
I kind of like Devonta Smith receptions.
Okay.
And then I like a whole bunch of the Browns and the Jameis stuff.
That Jameis was your call. That was the very first thing you had us put in. Let's do something with Jameis. That was your biggest read.
I mean, in the same way in which Seattle's defense has come on late, the inverse has been true for Kansas City. Their secondary has been really attackable in recent weeks, and their pass rate for the Chiefs is up as well. So I think this game can push up tempo. And I mean, I just like betting on a dude that I know is going to try to sling it at the very least. So that one was standing out to me too. I like it playing it through the yards. I like playing it through the touchdowns as well if you want to play like some spicy thing there. But I think the passing yards for Jameis feels like a fun core piece.
Yeah. I mean, playing Pitt twice, but then last time, against Denver, 497. Yeah, JM, like I said, was getting me hyped on Jameis, talking about, he said in all of Jameis's starts that KC actually had the worst pass DVOA, or maybe it was EPA allowed. Can't remember one of those advanced metrics, but basically saying this is actually one of the easier matchups he's had since he's taken over. So at home here, can never complain about the Jameis chucking thesis.
That's a fun core.
Yeah, this is the one, guys.
And Nez gets a lower in there to prove that we know ball.
I got you guys. Yeah. Don't worry. You guys just chasing these hires, looking for your shootouts. I'll put the ball knowledge in here.
There we go. All right. Core is in the chat. I'll put it in the private chat. We will put them in the Discord after the show. I will put them in the PO Box newsletter tomorrow. What do we want to go with now? Should we do a couple game stacks?
Yeah. You know what, Pete? I think we buried the lead a little bit here with the big sizz. I think we gotta. Did we?
Is that for the sliders? It's for when we go to.
Just when we get to the good stuff. Oh, okay. My bad.
He's a pro. He's a pro. Trust me, John. It was in the back of my head too, but I knew.
Because this is where we're getting a little. Yeah. Let's do a game. But the second anyone says the S word, John, I got bad news for you, bud. No more Q tag for you to gobble up. Trey McBride not listed on the injury report.
All right, generational wealth opportunity.
Where do you guys want to go for game environments? Because
how many game environments are we going to do? 2? We're gonna do one
Sure.
of the S word variety and one of the just we like variety.
All right. We're just gonna play the sizzle because I can tell we're about to. There's gonna be a slide involved. So without further ado, pick'em spicy margs.
Spicy margs.
Radioactive spice.
Let's spice it up, slop it up.
Slop it up.
I mean,
Slide. Just
permission to slide, Your Honor. You sliders. That's a 65x. That makes me feel things. Oh, by the way, shout out to Nick. He had tagged us on Twitter. He found this sweet hat at a store the other day that said spicy margs. He actually went back to see if he could get us some. Said they were all sold out. And I've decided I'm going to talk to my guy. I'm going to get a design made. But I almost have to decide because I'm like, I love spicy margs, but also like slop it up on a hat in that font would be pretty cool too.
Slop it up.
That would be great.
Maybe just two versions. Should I get a couple?
There's something to the dad hat stylistically one with just the pepper from the site, like, you know.
Well, do you know what's kind of so funny too? You think about the scroll down and scrolling down, and now it's the slide. So we got both axes. You know, we slide on the X to Y.
What's the Z axis? We'll figure it out. That's the slide.
All right.
That's the slot dynamic. Anyways,
Slide the F to left.
Do you want to start with Cowboys because we already talked about that?
Yeah, this one. Well, Cowboys is kind of tough to, I think, build around a little bit. I mean, maybe I can just like literally put together 5 right now on the spot, but
okay.
Maybe this is a good slop because we did like this for slop. Let's just start here. Before I talk about a different game.
I think it's a pretty good one. I think there's some definitely some fun angles on it.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys like the CD receiving yards? Because 64.5 to me, they're underdogs here.
That's crazy.
To me, that's a hell of a place to start.
Yeah, I wish CD would be the classic guy. Like fantasy points would probably feel better, but we don't have that available.
Yeah, I mean, CD, Rico, Chuba are like probably my favorite plays here.
Yeah, a couple other ones that I was liking that I was seeing on Unabated and some other sites and stuff there. You know, I like the Adam Thielen reception stuff, and I like the Jake Ferguson receptions as well. You're getting a little spice on that.
I've been kind of stunned, both on, I guess, like on Underdog, I get it. There's lots of good plays, but even like on Redacted, like Adam Thielen's not going to be mega chalk at like 5,400 coming off of like just literally insane usage. He had a 9.5 utilization score this past week. I'm like very on board to take Adam Thielen receptions at 4.5.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it since he landed in Carolina. I feel like he's just a great fit for Bryce Young, and receptions is such a great way to play it.
Great fit, Carolina.com.
Rico, same deal. I wish we had fantasy points. Negative boost on the Tutty. Do we like? I guess his receiving role hasn't been monstrous. It's definitely been more on the ground.
Yeah, Cooper Rush isn't really checking down so much. He's just really slinging it when he does. So I'm into to just like straight up rushing yards. I know 83.5 is steep, but Carolina
3 straight.
Carolina right now though, like improving as a team against the rush has just made no improvements whatsoever. So
yeah,
and Rico's getting all the work. I mean, it's the Rico show there.
It was pretty funny. I was listening to Crane's walkthrough for a little bit this morning, and then he was like obviously citing like the matchup we've attacked over and over again, and he's like, yeah, and Saquon Barkley didn't go nuke last week, but he had like 140 rushing yards and Gainwell's rushing production and Jalen Hurts plus the tush push at the goal line, and it was like, never mind, they actually did go nuke on the ground.
Yeah, so I like that. Same thing with Chuba. Do we just want to play something with him on that side?
Is there? I'm liking one that I saw in the chat here, and I don't know if it's up there. Zeke lower on the longest rush if it still exists.
What is it, like 6 yards? They don't even have anything for him.
They don't have it there. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing any Zeke stuff.
Yeah.
Not
The
surprising.
the one on I honestly the Hubbard receptions looks kind of good to me. 2.5 receptions. I know they're actually favored in this game, but he had 4 last week. I mean, he just doesn't come off the field.
Those two, like we've played this one in the past, and like early in the season, it felt really good to play it because he was just not coming off the field. And then those most 2 recent games, obviously, they schemed Jonathan Brooks, designed, stuff in the flat to get him open, easy touches, and that's kind of where the receiving production went. And obviously, that won't be a thing this week.
Right.
I like it. I think we have this like thought in our head that receiving work for running backs has to come in negative environments, but I don't think that's always the case. Sometimes it works the opposite where, they're looking more downfield whenever they're trailing. I think, like pass receptions to running backs can make sense. And this is going to be a tight game anyways. It's not like the Panthers are mega favored. So I'm with it. I like playing Chuba that way. Like you said, he's not going to come off the field. I think Velus Jones is the RB2 right now.
That's crazy. So we need one more. We got a 10x right now. We could either slide on these or add another one.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I'm asking what you guys would add. I think it might be too crazy to add not a quarterback. Like if you tried to add like 5 more catches to this, then you're like you're painting like a really weird script. So I think it would have to be one of the quarterbacks that we add to this. If you wanted to go the touchdown route with one of them, I wouldn't kill you, but it is pretty thin. General.
Other than that matchup against Philly, I mean, Bryce has been soaring over this passing yards number.
What is the number? 203?
203.
Yeah.
Let's see what the boost gives us there.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
that is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's almost a full 6x doc.
Whoa. Yeah, the way we have this currently set up. What about touchdowns?
Yeah, that gives you 21.32 for 2 passing touchdowns.
See, I kind of like
that.
Done that. I know he hasn't done it yet, but he's trending toward doing it, is he not? him or Cooper Rush. I think saying that there's touchdowns through the air helps this game, helps these guys hit their hires, right? Because it's speeding up the game.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything for that, eh?
Well, he slid it down.
No, I know. It was just shockingly how low it was when he slid it down.
Yeah, the other thing, like let's see how quickly could we cover this back. See, that gets you up to a 19 if you play it just a little bit.
That's interesting. I didn't think it was going to give us that much.
Yeah, 1.39 just to slide. Yeah, that gets us right almost back to our 20. So I think I kind of prefer that than
I'm like really okay. I'm really okay with that.
Likewise.
Yeah. All right.
That was not asking too much at all. I was really scared that we were going to have to ramp that up. Cool.
All right. Want to do one more game environment before we get our slide on?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the other slop it up that you guys suggested there with doing the Jets-Jags game.
Yeah, I like this one.
Can you drop the other one in the private chat, please, Pete?
Yes, my bad. Drop this in the chat. Copy paste wants a best ball circle jerk. Go in the Discord. That's literally all that's happening.
I got you covered, man.
Yeah, I got about 8 different channels for you. Also, we talked about best ball at the top a little bit. All right. Wait, isn't Evan Ingram done for the year? Why are his pickups up here?
Yeah, I thought it's weird because if he's like not maybe officially on the report, I don't know. I noticed that too, and I thought that was really strange.
Okay.
He is listed as out with a shoulder, back-to-back DNPs on. He's already listed out. Yeah, so that is.
I thought I saw a report this year that they're putting him on season-ending IR.
They are.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I'm not.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, it's weird because if it's like reported versus like listed, I'm not sure how things.
Well, how about this? Are we getting a discount on like the BT stuff? Like for an example, like when that news happened, like the ETR stuff boosted Brian Thomas. Like Brian Thomas got a projection boost for that. So I definitely think we should include something with BT here.
Yeah, let me see if receiving
BT
yards looks like, yeah.
Yeah, BT yards feels good.
And that's when we could even end up sliding if we need to help with a multiplier. I mean, even getting him to 80 yards is almost a 1.5x.
Yeah, people are telling us to keep our mouth shut on that.
Sorry, guys.
All right,
we
gotta go to
literally the job here is for us not to keep. But also, that's like concerning that we haven't said one really good piece of information for the entirety of this show until right now, because no one else told us to shut up about any other strategy. Keep spouting your dumb shit, but then once you get to this,
keep Brian Thomas Jr. under wraps.
I think there's a couple interesting ways to play this. We could do the Rodgers passing narrative and then just try and like stack it up, do like Rodgers, Wilson, Adams, something like that, and then leave the backfield at bay. And then you could do like Mac Jones completions on the other side, or you could do.
You're really trying to slam this Mac Jones completion.
Okay, fine. I like to tank Bigsby rushing number or combined number as well too. But okay. Yeah. But those are the ones that jump out to me. This feels like a Bigsby game.
I like the like even just I would take Adams to like 6.5, basically get him to 7 receptions, something like that, to get that at 1.15. Wilson, I think you could also just take the higher on 5.5.
Okay.
I don't know which.
I'm good with both.
Talk to me about the Bigsby angle.
I don't know. He's just like one of the best rushers in terms of overarching efficiency after contact thus far, and he seems like a positive regression candidate in like advanced metric stuff, and the Jets have been putrid against the run since the coaching change. That's basically it.
He did just alpha ETN last week, like big time.
Yep.
Do you like the yards or rushing attempts better?
Indifferent, to be honest, but I think the yards feel safer, I would say, out of the two.
Yeah, I think I like yards.
Okay, let's do it.
Because it's game script agnostic, right?
Sorry, not Tutty.
Yeah, basically, right? I think I think you can get there in neutral, and if they somehow find their way to leading this game somehow, then that makes sense too. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, to me, great spots for both. I know you talked about sliding up receptions for Adams. You could do that, and then yards for Wilson, or vice versa, however you want to play it. But I'd be fine with playing both against this Jag secondary, which has been just a staple for us in DFS.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fun stuff here. Like you could go Parker Washington spin zone, like what we did with the receptions, only at 2.5. Brenton Strange had some really nice games early in the season when Evan Ingram was out. Like there's some fun angles here.
I know we're slopping it up. What is so Rodgers is at 232. He was at 339 last week. I do kind of like the idea of, similar to what we did with Bryce. Like if we just, even just negate. Like a little bit.
Yeah. What does that get us?
That gets us to a 19 if we go to 259.5. And then we could slide BT a little bit.
Let's run it once and then let's run some variations of it without Tank Bigsby.
Okay. Wow, getting cold feet on your favorite pick?
No, just because it doesn't fit the narrative as well when we play the Rodgers stuff. Like
I think it does.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, if they're having success running, and then the Jets can't run the ball themselves, and they just have to chuck the entire half, I think it fits.
All right.
It's basically the Bigsby BTJ show too.
Yeah,
they really do nothing else right now, other than Strange, which I do think is a pretty good shout. Right, he did have some pretty usable games for us when Ingram wasn't playing, and it's BTJ and Parker Washington.
Yeah.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should pare this down to BTJ and an Adams receiver and like Giga slide.
Yes. You know me. I love my like
which
2s or 3s with lots of spice.
What do you guys like better? And there's so much you can do with these Jets wide receivers. I think you could slide one of them to 2 touchdowns. I'd probably slide yards on Wilson, but even like Adams had a great ADOT last week. We could split it.
Okay. Like do one of each or
Basically lock BTJ and
Okay.
then split, because it does seem like the super ceiling games for Adams and Wilson have been like slightly negative correlated.
yeah, I think that makes sense, for most.
I say we take BTJ to 99.5 for a 2.4.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we figure out which version of a slide we like for each of these guys and run it twice.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adams 2 touchdowns.
That is going to get us. And then I always like to compare like, okay, wow. All right. 6.
We might be maxed.
No. 49.
Yeah.
That's nice, dude.
That's
So,
fun.
because I just wanted to compare like how many receptions do you have to get or yards to get to a 6x? Like you can't even get him there on yards. Where did his receptions go? Why do I not see his receptions anymore? But I'm guessing that it's hard to get him to 6.89x on any other slide.
2 back shoulder fades, easy game. Brees Hall is still banged up. They're rotating 3 backs. They don't trust it in the red zone. Rodgers wants to get those stats up in the last 3 games of his career.
Yeah, I love this. All right, there it is. Dropping these in the chat. So this is Brian Thomas higher than 99.5. Devontae scores 2. And then how would we want to slide Wilson? Same deal or something different?
I think I like sliding Wilson on catches, but I don't know how much of a multiplier that'll give us.
I mean, so what did he have? So last week he had
7, I think.
10 for 7. I mean, you can get
14
him up here.
targets last week.
So you can get a 30x on him getting to 9 receptions. What's the equivalent on yards? Yards, you'd have to get him to 110 yards. That definitely seems a little harder, although last week he had 114.
Sorry, he didn't have 14 targets. He had 10.
Or you can get his 2 touchdown at 7.72.
My narrative in my mind with Garrett Wilson is if he scored 2 touchdowns, that means Aaron Rodgers scored 4. You know what I mean? Like there's no way they get in the red zone and he's not just looking at Devontae Adams first.
Yeah. I guess we haven't seen like much yards after catch stuff from Garrett Wilson.
He had a big one last week, but then he stepped out.
Which one of these do you like best, Nez? 10 catches is pretty fun.
10 catches or 2 touchdowns? I think I like 10 catches.
10 catches pays way more.
I think I like 10 catches.
That gives you a 63x there.
Come on now.
That seems so feasible.
I love this is when we
So
get
not
deep in
crazy.
the show. We're literally like looking at just these ginormous multipliers and saying that seems so feasible, bro.
I don't even have to think. You don't have to think too hard about that one.
Yeah. That one's
Following along at home.
That one's already happened.
Like seriously though.
That's fun.
All right, there you go. All right,
Guys-
that's some good slides there.
Yeah.
Can I tell you one slide that I would like to do, and maybe in conjunction with Kyler? I want to slide Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
I just feel in my body that this is a Marvin Harrison week. That's like
I like. I mean, you're preaching to the choir.
We went
No
to the
offense
same
to the-
game. We went to different dudes though.
you McBride?
Oh, I thought we were going spicy, not slides, and I was like, it's finally our time, boys. This is our music.
Let's run this twice. Let's slide
Okay.
Kyler. Let's do a Marvin Harrison slide of some sort. We'll do a McBride touchdown one of some sort, and then we don't have to do New England opposite this, but then we got to figure out our third piece.
Okay.
Or we could just we're gonna need
Before we sign off, we got to slide Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's you want to talk about written in the stars, man. He's
What
he's
is
going hammer on them. It's at 100 right now, but like 160, 180. I don't know, man. We got to slide. We got to slide something, man. He's He's going nuts in this game.
D
I love
Hammer
it.
versus the best matchup. Tractor Cito.
I mean, right? Who's thinking otherwise?
JGFC with the double slide narrative. Henry and Henry.
Hunter Henry.
Yeah. The Henry
Henry's
double
like
slide.
Henry's a tough slide.
Mhm.
I'm
Hunter
really
Henry,
into this
that is.
Marvin Harrison slide though.
Do you like this, Henry and Harrison here?
Yeah. I'm really into this, man. This just seems like the spot for Marvin Harrison to go off. Like he just is not as bad. First off, the season hasn't even been as bad as people really think. And this is the spot for him to really like showcase how good he is. Like the Patriots just play defense in a very confusing manner. And like they have such a great corner. They don't shadow him. Play a lot of man though at home. Marvin Harrison should have himself a great game, and why not slide him to 110?
And they need this game in a big way for the division after those back-to-back losses to Seattle, right?
Yeah. They're. I mean, it's pretty open. Pretty
Yeah.
open.
I mean, last night basically pushed the Niners out of contention, but Arizona can
other
still
than
flirt
other
with
than
it,
hapless Niners, but
which is crazy to say after what we anticipated at the start of this season. We thought everyone in that division was going to take a step back. Arizona rebuild year with Marv Harrison.
You want to run this, the Derrick Henry with an Uber McBride slide, 9.5 receptions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Play that two ways.
Yep. Good with it. Same narrative, different player.
what's Trey McBride score a touchdown? 10x for one.
1.36, dude. Like they're not giving us any.
Come on, man.
New me.
Give us more. This guy has scored like one touchdown in his entire career.
They're baking
football.
in a due premium into their numbers.
They are. The do model is like popping off right now.
Pete, could you share the McBride one as well, please?
Yeah. What was someone mentioned Derrick Henry longest rush, because that would definitely be another way to play that.
Yeah. Guy Keith did.
Like I do. Yes, 49. Does Derrick Henry? I don't even want to question him, because I was about to say, does he have a 49.5-yard romp in him? I'm like, this is the fucking Giants. Of course he does.
Yeah. It's tough.
I did like the other suggestions in there. Two of the plays that I kind of liked this week, the Waddle receptions was one that he suggested alongside it too, and the Neighbors receptions just as like sliders.
Playing Neighbors opposite of Henry definitely makes
that'd be a good one.
sense.
Neighbors getting DeVito back too. I mean,
what is
better than Drew Lock?
Yeah,
seriously.
Man. Drew Lock experience was something.
Short-lived.
Dude, that Thanksgiving game where they got the ball first and then they had like a half decent drive and then he rushed it in that was called back. Like it felt like they had something there. It was like, oh, here we go. Like now they're going to start moving the ball. And now it just immediately looks like maybe it wasn't Daniel Jones's fault.
I like 10 catches for Neighbors at 5.7.
So funny to hear said out loud. Like 10 catches for Neighbors this week.
Dude, it feels feasible.
Yeah.
Do you want to do longest rush paired with this one?
Yeah, let's switch it up a little bit.
If you do 39.5 instead of 40, that's still a 64. I think I can live with that.
Yeah.
39.5?
39.5 instead of the 49. I chickened out on the 49.5. Isn't that funny? Like my head, it's just like, oh, 49.5 is way too much, but 39.5, yeah, shipper.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a drop in the bucket, truly, but
this is though, like you want to talk about DVP, like this is such a fun DVP one. It's just like Ravens secondary sucks. Or Giants run defense sucks.
Yeah.
Like it. The slides are pretty fun.
They're
I'd say
way
so.
funner than the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to tell yourself a story with the slides.
Yeah. Well, and it also feels it's kind of like, it's like NBA stuff, right? Where it's nice, where it's like you get all of these possessions, you get all these cracks at it, where like touchdowns are still like really random. Team might get 3 to 4 cracks at a touchdown a game. You need a lot to go right.
Yeah.
Also, it's like the way this offense works, like Neighbors could totally scam his way to 10 catches and finish with like 80 yards and no touchdowns.
Are we doing any more?
Sure, let's do 1 to 2 more and then we'll pack it in. Let's
chase the dragon of the spice.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to some of my favorite slides here. You know what? We should slide Jameis. We should slide Jameis on something.
Okay. 2.5 touchdowns.
Yeah. So do you like 2.5 gives you 3x? That's not bad. Or would you just rather? I guess if you get it, it's the same thing. It throws 3 touchdowns or 300 yards is both around 2.5x.
I think if you're going to I think it depends what we're going to couple it with. Will determine what we do with Jameis. Because if you couple it with touchdowns, you do yards. If you couple it with yards, you do touchdowns. Right?
So
we don't
slide a teammate, you're saying, with Jameis?
Well, then we'd have to add a third. But I just mean in general.
Let's definitely slide a teammate, either Moore or Judy.
Okay, let's do Elijah Moore then and see if the market's caught up yet.
I like that.
They don't seem like they've caught up.
No.
45.
Let's take him to like 69.5.
Nice. Sorry. That was.
Do you want to do Judy and both these guys receiving yards and then do Winston tutties or something?
Yeah, like that seems fun.
Okay.
The problem is it's not going to let us do it here because you got to add someone else.
We're going to have to add someone, but I kind of like the dude. I like the Pacheco stuff this week.
I'm really into it, man. It was really good to see him get 16 touches a second week back, and this Browns team is one to attack. I'm with you. I think rushing attempts is a pretty clean way. Did this get us a
14 last week in his second game back, and we're getting plus money on that.
Yeah, and
this is a 60x right here.
So attackable in every facet.
Do it.
I mean, you can even take Judy down. You could take Judy down to 89.5, and this is a 52x.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I like the story.
We're gonna get a little more feasible with 89. Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I've realized, I've learned a lot since I entered my sliders era.
Yeah.
One of those things is you don't hit the pick'ems at as high a frequency as when you're not in your sliders era.
I haven't noticed that. I'll have to go back and check my results.
Check the chain.
Huh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes. All right. We should probably end the stream before I spend way too much money on pick'ems. There's something about being on stream that the hands just fly.
And your PO box is just gonna be like a CVS receipt, like you said, just sliders.
I need to see if I'm gonna get a stimmy from the. Are they already gone? Hang on. What is this?
They don't live update, so it's hard to tell.
Okay. Well, no cha-chings on my phone. That's never a good sign.
Pete, can you share that last one for us?
Yes. I'm gonna do this full dump in everywhere, and then I will post it.
I found it funny that you were blaming the stream for getting frisky on the sliders when yet we did 30 in the back of a bus on the way to the ball game.
There's
it has nothing to do with the stream,
it's
guys. It's vibes.
There's lots of locations I can blame. You post the photos of location EV.
Yeah.
Is a negative location EV here. Negative. All right. Wow, dude. This blew my mind yesterday when I was doing the PTP. So Kenneth Walker listed as doubtful. Sharps was just free in the PTPs this week. That was nuts.
I don't know if it was like a real free, but his projection was buried. So there's no doubt.
He was
insane Sharps teams, but they're probably all paired with Cooper Cup.
I just raw dogged it. I just did 10 like right before, and I took him in like virtually everyone with one of my like last 2 picks, like every time. Like people were not touching him, at least when my rooms.
Yeah, that was better than the stream stuff. We did stream on it yesterday, and he was going kind of in the third ahead of Walker at times. Like people had flipped the ADP, but that was the sicko community of like badged up rooms. So I love this JGFC telling us that we could get some badge bros. We could do off and on the clock branded slides, as in sandals.
There you go.
But then we have to take photos of our feet as part of the marketing.
Gotta censor the toes.
Anybody
Anybody that knows esports, let us know if Hydra has higher than 65 kills on games 1, 2, and 3. Thanks.
That's right. All right, guys, like we mentioned, tonight, no strip stream, 10 p.m. for Badge Bros members. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, Mathology stream with for YouTube members on my channel. Because a lot of people are gifting memberships, I'm going to make that available to any membership level with Mathology tomorrow night. John, anything else from you?
No, sir. Yeah, that's that.
Every single week, top of the leaderboards, Badge Bros community. Last week, line of scrimmage, Charlie takes down the goal line stand. K-Bash takes down the BR. Viper takes down the Dawg Bowl. Let's keep it rolling. Deposit Kingdom, Badge Bros, stay winning. Good luck in week 15. We'll catch you guys on Monday for portfolio review and winner circles. Peace.